Alright, so today I wanted to talk about jury duty. Basically, it's on my mind because it's something that I've been recently selected for. I've actually been recently selected for it twice. I'm pretty sure the last time was in the last year. And the last time I was selected, I was able to get out of it. They came to a settlement, and they said that this satisfies my jury duty requirement for the next so-and-so amount of years. But then somehow I was already selected again. So I was going to call them and be like, I should be good. I already did this. Well, I was told that I should be good. But then I was like, whatever. I didn't actually do it because they settled. So I got out of it. So I was just like, whatever. I'll just go again. But anyways, this time I was fortunate enough to get out of it again. So that's good. So I really wasn't looking forward to going. And that's why I want to talk about this, because there's a lot that I've been thinking about recently, and I'm like, jury duty is actually pretty stupid. So anyhow, and there's also some alternatives I thought of that would probably work as well. Like, I get it. The whole point of jury duty is to have like a random selection of individuals, so there's no bias or anything. And what better way to ensure that than just by getting a random sample, randomly choosing people out of the options in the, the state or whatever. I assume they do it by state. Yeah, it's going to be throughout the whole state. But anyways, yeah, what better way than doing it that than just you know what I mean? But still, so let me get into this. First off, I was thinking how it's kind of stupid how it's like a mandatory thing. Like, if you don't show up, doesn't it count as like a federal offense? Because you didn't go to jury duty? Jury duty? Not to go on a weird tangent right here, but I've been sick for the past few days, and like now one of my ears is all plugged up, so like I'm half deaf. So I feel like I can't even talk right. Everything sounds weird. I hear it out of only one ear. Ugh. Anyways, back to the story. I guess I just want to say that because if I keep screwing up, that's why I'm screwing up. Because it's weird right now. I can't hear properly. So when I try to say things, it's like when deaf people try to talk. It never sounds right. Anyways, so the jury duty stuff. I just think, first off, that's kind of a dick move that it becomes like a federal offense. Like, it's not my fault that person that's on trial right now couldn't act right and they did something wrong that got them to where they are, okay? I didn't do anything wrong. I've never done anything wrong. I've never been in a situation where I'm on trial for myself to determine what kind of punishment I'm going to have. and depending on the type of case you end up at, I mean, I'm sure in my area it'd be something small like a drug charge or something, but, it could go something as high as, like, murder. Like, I didn't go out and kill anybody, and yeah, I got to be forced to be a part of this stupid trial as well. Like, I gotta be forced to be here as well. Like, it's one thing that this dickbag's forced to be here. Yeah, they brought it on themselves. I didn't do anything to bring this on myself. I mean, if we want to talk about me specifically, I don't do anything. I'm at work, I go home, and I usually either hang out with, like, my daughter, myself, one friend, or my mom. Like, I'm not doing... And when I hang out with the friend, I'm usually at their place. Like, we're just there. We don't really do anything. We're just there. So my point is I'm not even doing anything that could bring up some kind of issues. You know what I mean? Like, that I could end up in a situation like whoever is on trial is currently at, And yet here they are, going to make it a federal offense if I don't show up. So now I become in the same boat as that person, basically. They're an offender, possibly at the federal level. And now I am, because I didn't go to jury duty. So then if I went to jail... It's like, oh, what are you in here for? Oh, I didn't show up for jury duty. Like, how dumb is that? Seriously? So that's one thing that I just think is ridiculous, that it's just, like, forced. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of annoying. Like, obviously, there's also ways to get out of it. It's not like it's 100% forced. Like, there's a huge list of options that you have that you could get out of it. I'm sure if you had, like, some kind of pre-scheduled like work trip or something that you had to attend for whatever reason, you could just tell them, hey, I can't make it to this date because I have this, and they'd be like, oh, that's fine. I mean, I hear even that one trick that somebody in my office does is So usually I guess they try to schedule them for Wednesdays. That's what I've been getting. That's what the person in my office said they get is Wednesdays. But then they say their way to get out of it is they pretend, ooh, Wednesday doesn't work for me, but I can do Friday. And then the court agrees, okay, we can set up something for Friday for you. But then since there's never anything on Friday, they get out of it because there's no hearings on Fridays. So, I mean, there's that as well, I guess. But still, in any case, you still have to respond. You still have to provide that alternative. Like, they forced you to be on the hook for some other dickbag who couldn't act right, and if you don't respond, then all of a sudden, apparently you become a dickbag. And that's just ridiculous. That's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like disrespectful to a law-abiding citizen. You know what I mean? To treat them kind of poorly like that because they don't show up to a stupid jury duty. Anyways, the other thing that I was thinking is, so obviously jury duty, you get to be, your job is supposed to pay you for, I forget what it is. They said up to like 5 jury duties. Then after that, your job can decide whether they want to pay you or not after 5 jury duty dates. Like if you're at a long trial or something, they have to pay you for 5 of those. And then after that, it's up to your company whether they want to cover you or not. For somebody like me, being on salary, I'd be all set because basically salary is a contract. I make X amount per year, and that amount is divided up into X amount per week. So it doesn't matter if I'm sick or if I'm at jury duty or what's the situation. You still owe me that because that's the deal. I work for you for this amount per year. But if you're hourly, well, then that's where it can become a pain in the cock. But they also give you a compensation of $50 per day that you're at court. And I don't know, the papers that I have said it's supposed to like help compensate wages or something for the day. And I'm like, $50? What do you think we make? I mean, if this is an all day thing, I don't know. I've never actually been to jury duty yet, so maybe it's only an hour. I don't know. But I would assume it's got to be like an all day-ish thing, right? Or at least several hours, say 4 hours even. $50, that's what, $15 an hour, $12? Yeah, it's like $12 an hour. That's not even minimum anymore. It's like, how do you think that compensates? Well, yeah, actually, yeah. How do you think that compensates for a day? When, one, even if we were minimum wage workers there, that's only half a day's wages. When, you know what I mean, for 4 hours, when we could have been making more if we worked a full day. And then second, what if you're not a minimum wage worker and you're somebody real? That's like an insult. Oh yeah, we're going to pay for your day's wages. Here's $50. Like, bitch, that's like an hour and a half for me, okay? If you're going to make me be here all day or even 4 hours, compensate me properly. I mean, if you're going to pay me for a whole day, you'd owe me like $320. Not like my job isn't going to give it to me, but I'm just saying, if you're going to use that wording that is to compensate for the day's wages, you owe me $320, not $50. Otherwise, if you're only paying me $50, then you only get me for an hour and a half. That's the deal, all right? Actually, it's not even an hour and a half. It's like an hour and 15 minutes you have me for. So, and then I think also what they should do is if they're going to pay you, don't even pay, make it worth the while of somebody to be a juror. Like, first off, $50, that's stupid. That's all you're going to give me is $50. You know, let's put it this way. Our government can go and pour money ridiculously in all these other places, give Ukraine hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars like it's no big deal, nobody's business, no problem, here you go. But then when it comes to us and we're forced to go do something stupid, oh, here's $50. Like, you can fork up a little bit more than that. You're going to force me to do this for you. Seriously? So the least you can do is at least pay me for like a time and a half type rate. You know what I mean? Give me like $500 for the day, not $50. That's rude. Then the other thing I was thinking about with jury duty is it's kind of dickish how they do things. They make you be on, I don't want to say on call, but for a lack of a better word, you're basically on call with them until the very, very end. Like, today, it's December 6th. My jury duty was supposed to be tomorrow, December 7th at 8:30 in the morning, if it was still scheduled. Yeah, I can't find out until 5:30 p.m. or later today if it's on or not. So basically, I gotta wait around All this time, I mean, I found out about my jury duty, a month ago they sent out the letter, then they sent out like a reminder letter 2 weeks in advance. But all this time, I don't even know if I'm actually having it or not until the last mother effing minute, basically. 5:30. Like, you guys, if you're going to force us, if you're going to draft us and force us to be in this, like, be a little more reasonable and have your stuff together. I get it. You can't really know in more extended amounts of periods because it could be something that involves a settlement, and say the settlement doesn't happen till the last minute. You know, the lawyers are being difficult, or the individual themselves are being difficult, and then at the last minute they're like, I'm probably better off just settling instead of going to trial. So I get it. You can't always control it, but like, come on. There's got to be something that they could do to offer like some kind of update, even if it's just something small, like, you know, you can go to a website and see status updates, or call a number and there's a status update like, oh, well, they're working on a settlement, or there's this or that, you know, just something, so you're not just in the dark for a month straight, like, oh, I guess I have this, I don't know. These dickbags are going to make me hang on by the end of a string, though, waiting for them to tell me whether I have to do this or not. Like, it was ridiculous because I was leaving my job, and the people that I work closest with, I just let them know about the jury duty, and they're like, well, see you tomorrow. I'm like, maybe. I'm supposed to have jury duty, but, you know, I'm not going to know for another hour and a half if I actually do or not, so maybe you'll see me. And, like, that's kind of dickish that I can't even give them a affirmative answer. It's like, maybe you'll see me. Maybe I'll be here. Maybe I'll be in a court. I don't know. You know, because the court system's kind of rude and can't let me properly know, so I can't properly let you guys know what my situation is either. Like, that's pretty cool, right? Ugh. Anyways, those were just like small gripes that I had. The more larger scale, overarching thing that I was thinking about is that most people in the country are very uninformed, like, I don't want to say dumb, but just for an easy enough word, let's just say dumb people. I mean, look at when they vote. Look what they vote for. They don't vote for, it's not like they pay attention to politics, pay attention to policies, pay attention to things that people have done. No, they just vote stupidly based on, like, I don't know, what CNN tells them to vote for, or what their local news or whatever is telling them to vote. Like, they just listen to their TV. They don't use their own brain. Look at COVID. COVID, I thought, and anybody with a brain thought from day one, it was ridiculous and way overblown. I mean, we knew that it wasn't that scary. April 2020, like, it hit the States hard in March. And at first I was a little nervous, like, whoa, this is here now. And then I was like, this actually ain't that big a deal. Like, my plant had like 100 employees and nobody got sick for like the first year. It was like, I thought this was supposed to be so scary and we're all healthy. And so, you know, I knew it was a joke right away, but you had all these idiots, all these leftist people, the Democrat people that just pay attention to CNN. They're like, oh my God, yeah, I gotta wear 37 masks because that makes a difference. And, you know, I need to have the shot and all the boosters because those help me have immunities against it. But you gotta wear all those masks and have the shots too, because without your masks on and your shots, then my masks and shots don't work. And it's like, do you realize how dumb you sound right now? Why is it that I have to be masked and shotted up for your mask and shot to work? Like, that's not how that works. If it works, then it just works, regardless of what someone else is doing. The other ironic part is I hear, isn't it that a lot of the people that actually did get the vaccine are the ones that are dying? It's the unvaccinated people that are, like, totally fine. So it's like, I wonder if there's some kind of correlation. If you couldn't tell, there's sarcasm. Obviously, there's a correlation. Because, again, people are stupid and they can't use their brains. This vaccine was rushed out like nobody's business in a very short amount of time. Like, you think there was proper testing procedures done on it? No. I mean, geez, you think there was proper research put into it? Not really. I'm not saying that the scientists were dumb. It's not like they just hired some doofuses right out of college, like, hey, work on this vaccine. But for something to be proper, it takes a long mother effing time. You don't just bang something out and it's perfect and good to go in less than a year. And then, look, you had one dickbag that was supposed to be the head of everything, you know, Fauci. And it's like, what does this guy actually know? He don't know anything. Is he on the front lines working on the vaccine? No. Is he checking in with any person who's actually working on the vaccine? No. He's just going around from news network to news network, from state to state, just pitching propaganda. He don't know anything about this creation. All he knows is that they're saying, here you go, here's a couple stacks. Say that it's safe and effective, and also say that they need to get the boosters as well. Okay, it's safe and effective. That's not a Fauci voice, but, and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's all he's doing. He doesn't know anything about it. But nope, everybody, Fauci said this. Fauci said this. Yeah, and? Fauci's just some guy. I mean, seriously. If somebody was paying me racks and making me go on TV and told me to say what to say, you'd all believe me. Well, who am I? I don't have a doctorate. But you'd believe me because I'm on the TV? I mean, that's basically what happened with Fauci. I mean, okay, granted, maybe Fauci really does have a doctorate and he has been in the field for a while, but in the grand schemes of this, COVID, he doesn't have any say. He doesn't know anything about what's going on. He's just like a frontman. He's like Ronald McDonald from McDonald's. You think Ronald understands the inner workings of an actual McDonald's restaurant? No. He's just the guy that dresses up as a clown and entertains for kids and the guests when a new store opens or something. Like, he don't know anything about the inner workings of he doesn't know how to make a Big Mac. He doesn't know how to ring out on the register. He doesn't know how to make a schedule. He doesn't know any of that. Same as Fauci. You don't know. He's just the face of what's it called? FCC? No, what's that dumb organization? CNC. No, that's a machine. What the heck is it? Whatever it is, the stupid disease center. CDC. Jeez. Centers for Disease Control. He's just the face of that. And speaking of the CDC, if anybody had a brain, they would have researched on that website. And the CDC actually put the real facts and figures out there. Yeah, they didn't talk about it on TV because it didn't fit the narrative they're trying to create. But it was still out there on their website. And that's where I learned, like, this ain't that scary. I mean, check some of my past T4Casts I did talking about COVID. I have the facts and figures right there as part of my thing. I wasn't just blindly talking. It's right there so you can see it. Like, but nope. People just want to, I gotta wear 915 masks, plus wear a bubble suit, have 3,000 shots per arm. That's the only way to do anything with this. Or you could just live. I mean, that's an option too. For a disease that's literally no worse than a severe cold. Either a severe cold or a mild flu. I mean, it's the same thing, basically. It just has a name now. But anyways, my point is that's the kind of people we're dealing with. People that are dumb and just kind of blind and just listen to whatever and don't actually know anything and don't actually do research. So my point is you're having these people go, you're forcing them to go, you're drafting them to go and be a part of a jury to determine somebody's future, somebody's outcome on what's going to happen to them. And yet, you think these people know anything about the law? You think these people know anything about anything, really? No, not really. Most of them are going to be college grads at best. Most of them are going to be working minimum wage jobs probably. If they're not working a minimum wage job, then it's not like they have an intelligent job. They're probably like a blue collar worker working some laborious job. Yeah, they're making decent money, but it uses their body, not their brain. So you don't have to be smart to do that. You just got to be strong or tenacious or whatever to do a job like that. So now you just got a bunch of, basically dumbasses just on a jury, and they're supposed to come up with a verdict for somebody. It's like, it just seems like a really dumb system. Like, I wouldn't want to be on trial and have people that don't know anything about law or anything judging me and determining what's supposed to happen to me. Like, that's just a terrible system. And the weirder part is, I don't pay attention to judge stuff too much, but doesn't the judge basically just go with whatever the jury decides on? So if the jury decides, yep, guilty, then the judge is like, okay, guilty, and then comes up with a sentence. And if they say not guilty, then the judge says, okay, yep, not guilty, you can go. Like, that's even weirder. It's like, well, then what's the point of even having a judge if they don't even actually make a decision? They just go based on what the jury says, a bunch of dumbasses over there, what they say, versus somebody who has years of schooling for, learning the law and everything, worked your way up from a lawyer to become a judge. I mean, you're going to listen to just some random people, literally random people that were selected to be on the jury? Really? Some of them probably some stay-at-home moms. Some of them probably, laborers at some mill or something. Some of them, and that's what you're going to listen to. What? I mean, even me, I'm not dumb. I have 3 degrees. I'm pretty book smart, at least. Maybe not practically smart. My mom always said that you have no common sense. But the way I always saw it was, no common sense is good, because that means I have uncommon sense. And that's where the revolutions come from. You think anybody that invented anything worthwhile had common sense? No. That's how they thought of something different. The common sense is just what everybody does. Again, the people that just blindly listen to CNN and, COVID's terrible. They're the ones with common sense. They all think the same thing. But Thomas Edison, when he was inventing all his things, you think he had common sense? No. Elon Musk, you think he has common sense? No. Not having common sense is good. So even though my mom always tried to say it as a way to, I don't know, make fun of me or something, I always saw it as a good thing. I was like, cool, I don't want to have common sense. But anyhow, my point is even me, I'm pretty educated, I'm pretty smart, I do know quite a bit of useless information that will never do me any good to know, but I just know it because that kind of stuff interests me. I just like knowing things. But the point is I don't know anything about law. It is something I've been thinking about studying up just for the fun of it, at least my local state laws. But I don't know anything about law. So I'm not a good juror. What do I know? I don't know anything about the laws. I don't know anything about anything. Even if it was something like drugs, say. I don't do drugs. I don't know anything about drugs even. So it's not even I have street knowledge. Oh man, he was only packing an eighth. That ain't no big deal. I don't know. I don't know how stupid I sound right now because I don't do that stuff. I'm not affiliated with that. I don't have friends that do it. I'm not interested in that. So you know what I mean? Or if it's a murderer. Well, I'm not a murderer, so I can't relate. And again, I don't know the laws. I mean, obviously, yeah, okay, murder's bad. But I don't know any specific laws. I don't know. And that's me. That's somebody who's smart. So imagine all the other dummies on the bench with me. Somebody that works at McDonald's, say, is on that bench with me. What do you think they know? They didn't even put effort into their life to become anything better than just a McDonald's employee. You think they know anything about how to be a proper juror? No. So it just seems like a really dumb system. And it just seems even dumber that they make something that dumb be mandatory. It's just like voting. I feel like in order to be a juror, they have to make it so maybe you are randomly selected, but then I feel like they have to make it so you have to pass some kind of test online or something just to show that you're actually worthwhile, that you're not just a total idiot that's going to get on the jury and not know anything and just be a waste of space. It's just like voting. I feel like when it comes to voting, they got to change things because right now you just have a bunch of blind people, so to speak, that go to the polls and they just vote for a moron that the TV tells them that they're supposed to like. That's why we have Joe Biden now. Because the TV told them that, Trump was terrible, but, Biden. So everyone was, okay, I vote for Biden. Don't pay attention to anything that either one of them have done. Don't pay attention to everything that Trump did as a politician in 4 years versus the nothing that Biden achieved in 40 years. No, don't pay attention to that. Just pay attention to what the TV tells you to think. TV tells me this. Okay, so I do what TV say. I don't have brain of self. I do what TV say. So I just feel like you need to have some kind of system for voting as well. Don't just have it open to everybody. Make them earn it. Make these people prove that they're worthwhile to vote, that they're people who are actually informed and pay attention to things. Like me, I don't want to say I listen to politics all day, but I listen to a lot of political commentary. I listen to Ben Shapiro. I listen to Liberal Hive Mind. I listen to Run Don't Walk Productions. I listen to Gutfeld. I listen to Tucker Carlson. I listen to Hannity. Yeah, a lot. All of this is right leaning, conservative, because that's what I align with. But at the end of the day, there's a difference between the left and the right. The left is just propaganda. They pitch their side and act like the right is so terrible and talk down on it, and they're just like a weird, insane cult, where at least the right recognizes what the left says and then just points out why it's a bad viewpoint with actual facts and logic that they'll put on the screen and proof. The left doesn't do that at all. CNN, it's just opinions. They go and barf something stupid about Trump, but they don't back it up. Where maybe Jesse Waters will go and barf something about Biden, but then he's got 15 minutes of video clips proving his point. He's not just blindly saying something. So anyways, the point is I feel like listening to that side, you also get a bigger picture. You get what the right thinks. You get what the Republicans, conservative, whatever you want to call them, thinks. But you also get what the left thinks. So you can kind of get a full picture. And then you're fully informed. You're not going into something blind like you are with, the leftist type people, because all they hear is their inner circle. It just goes in a circle. Why do you think they're having a meltdown about Twitter now? Because it's not just their circle anymore. Oh my God, now there's conservative thoughts in here. Oh, we don't like this, and we want it to be only us. I mean, then we can just pat each other on the back nonstop. Not have somebody show up that has a different, better opinion than us. But yeah, so I think something needs to be like that for voting. Some kind of test or something. And, every time there's a voting season, have a new test come out. Make it different every year. That way then you can prove that you're, up to speed on things. Not just, copying the answers from last year. Maybe even make the test specifically about the candidates. Just to really prove that you're up to speed on things. Don't just have, generic questions. But, specific. Oh, this candidate is blah, blah, blah this. And this one's blah, blah, blah this. The blah, 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 this being a blank, and you have to choose A, B, C, D that properly fills in the blank or something. But at least then it shows. Because it's like those videos you see on TikTok where the guy goes around and asks people basic questions, and they never seem to know the answers. How many states are there? And these people will be like, I don't know, 40? Yes. He just says yes because he's like, how are you this dumb? Or when they say, name 3 countries in North America. There's literally only 3, and they can't even do it. I don't know, China, Russia, and Europe? And it's like, no, and no. But the point is always in the comments it says, and these people are allowed to vote. Yeah, that's the problem. You get dumb people that can vote, and those same dumb people are eligible to be a juror. So you're going to have some brain-dead moron on your jury determining your outcome for your life, for whatever your sentencing is going to be. And yet some brain-dead person had input. It just doesn't seem right. I just feel like, I don't know. So anyways, my solution, or an attempt at a solution, was, like I said already, 1, some kind of a test that proves you're worth it. You get selected to be a juror, and then you have to take a test to prove would you be worth it. I mean, I guess a lot of people could fake it and intentionally do poorly or something, just so they could get out of it. So that might not work. The voting would be better. Because I don't think people would want to fail. If they want to vote, they're going to, So if they do fail, then that means you're not worthwhile. You can't vote. But I think, well, then again, with all the election fraud, I don't even know if that would work. They'd make sure that everybody... Well, no, you could just make it anonymous. You don't know if the person is Democrat or Republican. They just need to prove that they're smart enough first. Then you'd probably only have Republicans, actually. There'd be no Democrats. All of them are too stupid. But anyway, but yeah, something. So like I said, I don't know if that would work for the jury, because maybe people would intentionally fail just so they don't have to be on a jury. Oh, I'll just do poorly, and then they'll be like, oh, you're no good, you're dumb. But I don't know, something. Maybe one of those beat around the bush type tests then, like they do at a job, where they ask you the same question, but 75 different ways to trip you up and see if you answer the same way each time. So something confusing like that. That way then it could really weed out the dumb people, because the dumb people aren't going to be able to keep up with that if they are trying to cheat. And then the smart people, well, they could, but the in-between people are kind of, just there, not super smart, but not dumb, they'd get tripped up, and they would answer truthfully for what they're thinking is what I mean, no deception or not overly dumb. I don't know. But the other thing I was thinking is, rather than forcing everybody into being an option that you could get selected to be a juror, make it more like a job opportunity, so to speak. Put it out there, like, hey, we have this trial coming up. We're gonna pay this much per day. Do a good amount. That's $50. Do like 500, like I said. Make it worthwhile, a little bit appealing to these people. It's $500 per day, blah, blah, blah. We provide lunch as well. They don't provide lunch. You got to do that yourself. So we provide lunch, $500 a day. Contact us if interested. And then I'm sure you'll have a lot of people hit it up like, ooh, $500? Especially like those minimum wage people. That's going to be more than they make at their job. Even if they get docked to their pay at their job, that's still double what they're making at their minimum wage job, if not more than that, for 1 8-hour day. So they're going to be on board. And then you're going to have a lot of names, and then what do you need? You only need 12 people or something, right? So now you just randomly select 12 out of that batch that applied. So you still get your random sample, but you don't have to have people that aren't interested at all involved, like me or my mom or, people like that just don't want to do it. Because the other thing, too, that I forgot, I should have said this earlier, was there's a guy that I work with, and he had jury duty last year. Yeah, last year. What is it now? Actually, it might have been before last year. I'm trying to think. The previous plant manager left July 1st, 2021. And when this guy had all his jury duty, we still had that plant manager. Because this guy that had jury duty was actually that plant manager's production secretary. Or whatever they call it, production clerk, scheduler, I don't know. So maybe his jury duty was from like early 2020 to mid 2021. Like from January 2020 till like March 2021, something ridiculous like that. And he had to go once a month out to Hartford, which is the middle of the state, Hartford, Connecticut, middle of the state. Keep in mind, we're up in the northeast corner, okay? We're on the border of Mass and Rhode Island. Mass and Rhode Island. And he had to go to Hartford once a month for, how many months is that? 15 or 16, somewhere in that range, amount of months. And it's like, that just sucks. Like, he got forced into this. Some kind of big trial. I don't remember. Obviously, you can't talk about it. I think he just made, because people asked, and he just said it was a murder case or something. But it's like, you can't even, like, he was forced into that. That's what he got selected for. Something all the way out in Hartford, way out of his way, and what, he got $50 a day? That's stupid. He's an hourly guy, too, which means he was probably severely getting ripped off. If I'm not mistaken, he makes at least $20 an hour. So one day, that's what, $160, and they gave him $50. So he got short $110 to go be forced to do this jury duty, plus drive way out to Hartford. Like, that's ridiculous. That's what I'm saying. Make it so it's more like people can volunteer. If you give them a Price is Right, people will volunteer. $500 plus meals. You'll have a lot of doofuses like, oh, yeah, I'll do this. $500 sounds good to me. Geez, even me, I might actually be interested then. Like, $500? I get a day off from work, kind of. Yeah, I'm still kind of working because I got to listen to this jury, but it's not work. I'm just kind of sitting there on a bench listening to something that could be kind of interesting. You know what I mean? Like, it makes it a little more appealing. Rather than, I got to go do this. Being forced into it. I don't know. Oh, and that's another thing, too, I was thinking with jury duty. I should have thought of this earlier as well, is how they make you go into it blind, which I get it. The whole point of going into it blind is so that then you're a clean slate. You don't have any preconceptions. You don't have any prejudgments determined. You're going into this blind, and then you're formulating your thoughts as the trial goes on, and you're hearing evidence and stuff. But I do think maybe they should provide a little bit of information, like a little backstory. This is a drug trial. This is a murder trial. This is a hit and run trial, a rape trial, whatever. Give just even a basic detail like that. No actual information. You don't know who the person is. You don't know what it's about. If it's a murder trial, you don't know if it's one person, a serial killer. You don't know. But at least it gives you a little bit of background as to what you're getting into. So again, if you choose to be informed, you could at least do a little research. I mean, they give you a heads up for a month. So you could do some research for a month as to the laws in the state regarding murders and murder trials and stuff. Maybe you could Maybe you could even consult with a lawyer. Consultations, half-hour consultations are free. You could go have a consultation with a lawyer, see what they would say and stuff, and just kind of at least build a little intelligence up. Now at least you have some weapons when you're going into this trial. Yes, you're still blind. You don't know what it's about, but at least you're informed. You're not just a dummy sitting there on the bench like, duh. At least you know, well, I did all this research, so I know this. There's this statute, there's this previous case, this was the outcome, blah, blah, blah. You have a lot of things to build on and think about, and you can come up with a better end result, rather than just, I guess this, based on nothing, because I'm stupid. Again, I just think, most of these people, if they're in court, they're probably a scumbag anyway, so they just deserve to be convicted, but at the same time, if I was there, I would want to make sure that my trial is as just and accurate as it could be. I wouldn't want just a bunch of doofuses putting some nonsense charge on me because they didn't know what they were talking about. They just blindly went into something. You know what I mean? I'd rather know that the people are at least kind of intelligent, kind of informed, and can make as best of a decision. So if they come up with, I'm guilty, well, I want it to be because it's a very informed decision, and there's a lot of evidence that proved it. Well, we did it based on the proof that was provided from the testimonies that we heard, from the defense and the prosecution, both sides that they had. We also concluded this based on this previous trial that happened in this trial. So we took bits and pieces of each of those because they applied to your specific case. There's this statute in the law about this, yada yada. So there's a lot that you can at least build up intelligence on. And then if it's so that's why we determined that you're guilty, then it's okay, well, that sucks, but you got a point there based on everything that you presented, rather than just, we think you're guilty. One guy said it and everybody else was too scared to say otherwise, so they just all went with it. That's why it's 12-0, you're guilty. So, yeah, jury duty just seems pretty stupid. It seems like it's a really outdated mechanic. I couldn't say when jury duty became a thing, but I feel like it's almost something from, the 1800s. Back in the day, maybe even earlier than that, when courts were forming and they just needed people. So, we're just going to force you to come, and if you don't, then it's a felony. Yeah, you can be punished. This is a crime if you don't show up when we select you. But, in today's world, it's much different now, because it almost would be like that. Think about back in the day, you didn't have phones and stuff. You couldn't just call somebody, text somebody or whatever. You'd have to have a horse, go bring a letter to them. So, yeah, if they didn't show up, then it would be a problem. Really, dickbag? But now it's so much different. I mean, geez, you could almost do this stuff by Zoom. Have Zoom trials. So people don't even have to go anywhere. They can just set up on their phone and just sit at home on their couch and do a trial there, do a jury trial there. You know what I mean? I'm not saying to do that as an alternative. I'm just saying, to make it be mandatory. It's much different in today's world than it would be back in the day. And I just feel like that's what juries are. It's something that was created way back in the day, and we just still do it for some reason. A lot of other things have moved forward. Slavery is no longer a thing. Schools are desegregated. Women's rights, even though today they try to whine and act like they don't have rights, but they do. It's exactly the same as men, whether they want to admit it or not. But then jury duty's still around. It's well, that's cool. Something from the 1700s is still around. That's weird. How have we not figured out how to move on from this? But yeah, I think that about covers it now. That was all the points I had. It was something I was just thinking about because this is, like I said, almost my second time. Still technically never. I've never had jury duty yet. But I've been selected twice, and this last time, the first time I didn't really think anything of it because, I don't know, I guess it was my first time and I didn't know what to expect, and then I got off the hook and I was just relieved. But now they put me back on the hook, and so I just got to thinking, and I was like, man, jury duty's kind of stupid. And I started thinking about all this stuff that I just talked about. And then I was like, I'm going to make a T4Cast about this. So yeah, anyways, that's all I got. I need to go inside and, I don't know, take a shower or something, try to pop this ear, because it is very plugged up, and I'm deaf out of it, and it's weird, and I don't like it. And I say go inside because nowadays, 100% of the time that I make a T4Cast, it's because I was driving. So I just dropped my daughter off, and I made this on the ride home. And now I've been sitting in my driveway for about 20 minutes, still talking. So yeah, I got to wrap this up so I can head on in. So yeah, until whatever comes next, I said see ya.